world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
Well, have you heard the news? Southwest is no longer allowing bags to fly free. But it doesn't start until May, late May. Get them free checked bags while you can. Like, I would just, if you're going to Orlando or going somewhere, flying somewhere for your end of season events, like just check 2 bags for free just because you can. The era of flying on Southwest to save money on bags is effectively over. There are some caveats, like if you have A-list and you have their credit card, there's some loopholes there, but this is going to devastate cheer families everywhere. And that's a little dramatic, but it's like a real bummer. That's a bummer, man. Like, what are you guys going to do when you win trophies and you have to check your carry-on because the trophy is your carry-on? Like, what are we going to do, guys? Check those bags while you can. Enjoy it through the end of this cheer season. All right. In this episode, I got to talk to the mom of an athlete on the world famous, world champion cheer athletics Panthers. It's very exciting. And she talks about her daughter's journey onto a world's team, but also they started at a small program and took the leap to go for this world's team. And so Nancy Ori talks to me about that, and she has a unique connection to a previous guest or guests that I have had on the podcast before. She is incredibly sweet, has a pure heart, and talks so fondly of both D1 and D2 programs. She even followed up by text just talking about how grateful she's been to all of the coaches that have coached her daughter and how cheer athletics is truly some of the best in coaching and helping her daughter to grow. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by all of our new favorite sock company, Apollo. You may have seen them at a recent cheer event, and they are changing the game for cheer athletes, coaches, and even cheer moms. Listen to more of the episode to learn more and find out how you can get 10% off of your order. Have you ever met someone with a tattoo and asked them why they chose that specific tattoo? They probably had a story about how it's significant to them. I have 3 tattoos, and they all have a very deep and meaningful significance to me. And every time someone comments on one, I'm like, thanks. And then I give them like a 5-minute explanation about why it's important to me. Even if tattoos aren't your thing, I think that we all need little encouragements and things that are specific to us that remind us of the things we love most and the words that motivate us to keep going. And that's why I started TCC Jewelry. The necklaces, bracelets, and rings are simple and engraved with little words that have special meaning, like hit 0, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 1, 3, 5, 7, and more. And check out the new collections like the Faith Collection and introducing the Dance Collection, baseball, softball, and volleyball collections. Get something special for yourself or that special athlete or coach in your life today by visiting tccjewelry.com and enter coupon code CheerMomPod for 15% off your order. That's tccjewelry.com and enter coupon code CheerMomPod for 15% off. I'm so glad that we are getting to do this. We've had a couple of brief conversations or interactions over the last year or so, but I'm excited to learn about, you're the first, let me see, you are the first world's all-girl team, not the team mom, but you're the first mother of an all-girl world's team athlete that has been on the podcast. So
Oh,
that can be your
I feel
new
honored.
cheer mom statistic. Yeah. So thank you for being here. So tell me, I always start with, how did you get into cheer? How did your daughter get into cheer? How did you end up in this place?
Ooh, a place I never thought
I know,
even dreamed
I'm
about
looking
being.
at you with like pity.
Oh gosh. When Ella was little, so 6, 7-ish, she was in gymnastics and dance. If anyone had a daughter in gymnastics that early, they stand in line and walk across a balance beam. Then they stand in another line and do something on a bar. And then they stand in another line and do one tumble pass. And eventually she expressed that tumbling is the only part that she really likes.
Same with
And
my daughter when she was
uh,
little. Yep.
yeah, and you've met me. I'm pushing 6 feet tall. Ella is not going to be a petite person, and I saw the writing on the wall that gymnastics was not a long-term plan. We quit dance, quit cheer, finished the seasons appropriately, and the next sign-up period tried all-star cheer. Someone had mentioned they dance in their routines and it's heavy tumbling. So we did that, and the rest is history.
And I want to touch on that because it was something I was thinking about this morning as I was getting ready, that leaving, especially in cheerleading, seems to be, it can be tricky because it's all about loyalty and family, and a lot of people don't know how to leave well. And so they sometimes can throw a match to it all or self sabotage or whatever. And I know of you because my good friends Stephen and Maggie from the All Star World interview, like that's when we officially became friends, was that interview. You guys all witnessed it in real time. They were on the podcast last season, and I was asking them, they're in Tyler, Texas, and it's really right up the road from CA Plano, so to speak. People will travel an hour and a half, 2 hours if they need to for that kind of program. And I asked them about, is that something that you think about? Is that something that you struggle with? First of all, the answer was really, no, not really. Like we have our sweet spot here. But they told me about an athlete that did grow out of their program, that did grow out of the coaching and the teams that they were able to provide at the time. And they said, and we love her. We are in the front row, banging on the mat, banging on the stage, her biggest fan, cheering for her. It turns out that was your athlete. And I already see you getting emotional. I remember you told me the story and it was the same way. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that from your end.
Oh, it's so sweet. I know that our situation is not normal. Our choice to leave and move involved my son. My husband's job worked out. We're not that far away, but I hate driving. I told my husband, I'm like, I am not do. There are several athletes on Ella's team that drive hours that I don't know how they do it, but all the stars like aligned for us to make a move at that time. Ella was in junior high. Moving sucks. Losing your friends sucks. So we knew that sweet spot is a good term. The sweet spot of the timing was good. And Ella had, that's sweet that they said she'd outgrown. I think there was training there, but she was the only athlete doing level 6 skills. And we had great coaches, but I just felt like she wanted to be on a team with other athletes
At her
pushing
level.
her. And
Yeah.
but Maggie did it. She took our sweet little team. We downgraded to a prep level to get a spot to compete at NCA. I didn't know what cheer athletics Plano was. I didn't know what Panthers was. We sat in that darn arena for 2 solid days. Prep teams compete on Thursday or Friday. I don't know at this
Mm.
point, but we just sat there and Ella got her camera out and filmed somebody. And I was like, who was that? She said, I don't know, but everybody else got their cameras out. So I thought I should too. And she's been addicted to YouTube videos ever since. So
Mhm.
that lit the fire. And here we are. Did I even answer your question?
How was it just, hey, peace out, we're the customer, we're doing this? Or did you sit down with her coaches and say, is this a good idea? Is she there? Because I didn't know what a CA was either. Really, until we became CA, I'm like, I peripherally heard about cheer athletics, but I was like, what's the big deal? And yeah, that arena, those
But you
those
find out.
seats, I'm glad they're demolishing the arena in the sense that those seats will give you a backache for days. But
Yeah.
especially because you have to be a squatter just to have a spot.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so was it something that you were like, I don't know, or you knew for sure that she was ready for this?
I knew she needed more. I took her to CA Plano before we moved for some private lessons just to see. I knew it would be big. It was their old location, but I knew it would be big, but I wanted her to get a feel for it. And her eyes were huge. She saw people twisting and stunts doing crazy stuff like left and right. There was like Navarro athletes there just practicing like it was a regular day. This was shortly after all the Netflix stuff was out,
Mm.
and it was really exciting. I talked to one of the coaches, I had them watch, and I'm like, we're about to put our house on the market. Is this something, are we barking up the right tree? And they were very positive and said yes. And so we moved, and then she tried out. The conversation with Maggie, I was honest and I said, we're moving. Ella's part of the equation at maybe 50%. It wasn't all her. And we're going to go try out at CA Plano and see where the road takes us. And her answer was amazing. She said, I'm really glad to have been part of her journey. And the support was really nice just because we've experienced the opposite where you're like, you're dead to me.
Mhm.
And that's okay
Mhm.
for me, like a grown up can handle it, but I saw like former coaches of Ella's ignore her, pretend she wasn't alive. And I'm like, she's 10. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So to get a supportive answer was really made it all a lot easier.
I love that. And that's one thing that I just hate about cheerleading, that it's like you're if you're not with us, you're against us. This kind of toxic loyalty. But even if it's not that, I've heard coaches say, "Okay, fine, you're going to this other program. I taught you everything you know, and now you're just taking my teaching and taking it somewhere else and giving somebody else the credit for it." And so that is one reason why I just love, again, shout out to Stephen and Maggie, Flyer Athletics in Tyler, Texas, who can they can handle it. They're in their lane, and not that they don't want to grow and not that they don't want to have level 6 athletes, I'm sure. We haven't had that conversation, but that they're like, you know what? We were part of that. And I wish that more
Yep.
coaches and owners would look at it like that, that they would see an athlete fly the nest and know that they were part of the story.
Yeah, and
So,
there wasn't
yeah.
other, even level 5, like there weren't other level 5 and 6 athletes. It's not like her leaving prevented them from making a certain level team.
Sure.
That I can understand warranting a different reaction, but yeah, she had to fly.
And fly she did, well, fly she did.
She's
What?
not a flyer,
She's
but
not a flyer, but flew the nest, flew the coop she did. So you okay, so she goes to CA Plano. She tries out. What is she? Does she have a certain goal in mind, or is she happy to be there? What did your first tryout experience look like?
you put on a sheet like what teams you want to be on. That's a suggestion. And our goal was to be on level 5 youth
Okay.
because the season before there was that. That team didn't come back for whatever reason. And the junior 6 Jags was there, and she wasn't age eligible for a senior 6 at that
Okay.
time. The junior 6 was a fantastic fit. They really, coaches in one meeting said these are our future world's athletes, and we are going to be really hard on them. We're going to push them. You're going to get choreography from the world's dance choreographer. It's going to be a hard year. And I'm really thankful for that because the prep that they got in that season helped make this year not more nuts.
Yeah, it wasn't such a shock. It wasn't such a culture
Yeah.
shock, I'm sure. So her being a junior 6, that's a controversial thing, having a being a junior 6 and not getting to compete at Worlds. Was that something that you had to work through? I can't think of a junior 6 mom that's, wait a second, they don't get to
No,
compete at Worlds?
actually, Ella never went to Summit. We were never at a gym that did varsity.
Okay.
We'd never been to Summit. So it was we got a bid, one and done. Great experience. Really glad to have been there. The controversial one was last year, J6 was moved out of the arena at NCA. And
Interesting.
that was the one driving thing for Ella was I'm going to compete on that arena floor after that first year that we sat there. Walking away exhausted late Sunday night, I'm going to compete on that floor, is what she said in the parking garage. So to have made the level 6 team, went to NCA and not. So we have one last chance this year before that building gets knocked down.
We know it's for sure this year because she's
Yes.
on Panthers.
Yes.
And we want to know, tell us everything. Tell us everything about what it's like to be a mom of a Panthers athlete. Let's start with what was because obviously a world's team, and especially a high profile world's team, it's going to be intense. So was it different? Was it a big change for you from J6, for her from J6? It's got to be really serious. So was that an adjustment for either of you?
No, other than they practice pretty late into the night. She's the youngest one on the team. That's a little bit of an adjustment. But Ella already was super serious and all in and practiced more than what was expected and whatever. So the time commitment wasn't a shock. It was come the first year coming from the small gym. And there's 2-a-days that are 3 hours apiece when you're getting into the national season. And the week before ACA, NCA, Worlds, that you're going to be there every single night.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's a lot.
So they had a really good season last season. They won worlds. They won they won the majors.
No, they got
Not
second at
last year.
majors.
Oh, they won worlds and something else. NCA?
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Isn't that funny though? Because it's like such a big deal in the moment and I can't remember. I think there's a
Did
lesson
they?
there. They
I
had
don't
a
know.
really good season last season. Is it just watching, it feels like an emotional roller coaster, the really high
Yeah.
highs and the really low lows. How do you walk her through that?
We are in the middle of a low right now. She's injured and was
Oh,
not on mat and at cheer sport. Ooh, this is her first. injury that hopefully she'll get back at it tonight and be there for NCA to get on the mat before it goes away. But she, right out of the bat on Jags at Blue debut, her stunt group came down, and one of the TikTok accounts zoomed right in on that and said something negative. I don't remember what. I'm like, who cares? Nobody knows who you are. They're looking at the flyer anyway. Y'all are kids. They shouldn't be picking on you. And winning and losing so far, she's been really good at taking it all in stride. And you're right. I don't remember what went wrong at Summit last year. I don't remember who busted, what stunt group came down. I don't remember. It goes away so fast, and we're solidly looking ahead and focused on what's next. Yeah.
So, what is her relationship with the coaches like? Are the coaches close with the athletes? I imagine they have a tight bond to be able to execute what they do. What is that kind of off, quote unquote, off the mat relationship like?
Yeah, that is one major difference between the D1 and D2. There's 1,000 athletes at that gym, and each coach has got, I don't know, I'd say about four teams. I think, especially having some private lessons with a couple of them, they're getting to know her more, but it almost feels like school, where if you're just doing what's expected of you or better, you're off the radar. We weren't getting disciplined for something. The attendance was not our problem. They're doing what was asked. So there wasn't a really close thing in the beginning. It's better now. It just takes some time.
That's one of the reasons why I'm an advocate for private lessons because you're getting one on one coaching on your skills, but you're also getting to know your coaches or coaches in the gym at least. So that has been a help for her then.
For sure. And one thing that I didn't know going into this, tumbling, there's not a day that her team tumbles. Every single practice is team practice and for the routine.
Hmm.
So if you want to work on and advance your tumble skills, you have to do private lessons there or somewhere else. It doesn't matter, but you need to bring the completed skills to the mat.
Yeah. Okay. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by Apollo Performance Socks. As a longtime seasoned cheer mom, I have seen firsthand how demanding this sport can be on young athletes' bodies, especially their feet and ankles. Enter Apollo Performance Socks. These socks are seriously a game changer. The targeted support and compression have made a world of difference, not just for athletes, but for me, I'm not an athlete. It literally feels like a hug for your feet. I had a cheer mom tell me it feels like these socks were licked onto my feet by kittens. Apollo Performance Socks help athletes to practice longer, recover faster, and focus on performance instead of pain. If your cheer athlete is dealing with foot or ankle issues, I highly recommend giving Apollo socks a try. Visit apolloperformance.com and use code CHEERMOM2024 for 10% off of your order. That's Apollo, APOLLA, performance.com, and enter code CHEERMOM2024. So tell me about the high profile part of it. You put that uniform on and the little girls especially, they're starstruck. What has that been like, especially with Ella being young? How old is she?
13.
Okay. What's that been like?
She loves it. I had to do a little coaching with her. It doesn't come naturally, really, for all kids to start a conversation, encourage somebody. I'm like, ask what team they're on, ask what level it is, tell them good luck, give them a bracelet. And thankfully, it's usually the little girls are nervous, so they want to take a picture and kind of run away really fast. But
Yeah.
she loves it. It's so much fun. And I'm
That's
glad because I think sometimes The older kids they've been doing this for 5 years at this point. They're like, oh, I'm just trying to get to the meat spot.
That's another thing too. It's a 5 year difference between her and the oldest athletes. Sometimes six, because if you're super senioring,
Yeah.
they can be up to 19 years old. And I see a lot of moms in the Facebook groups worried about things like that, especially when you have somebody in junior high or even just a freshman in high school. The difference between that and a freshman in college is it's a world of difference. Is that something that you're ever concerned about, that you're watching for?
Yeah, I am. I think I was more worried about it before it started. There hasn't been any problem. I know they are talking about boys more than she probably is used to, but the team as a whole has been really good. They know she's young. There's several 13-year-olds. They know they're young. I hope they temper things a little bit if they're being silly, too silly, but
I feel
um
like they do. Even when, let's see, my daughter was on a team, I couldn't tell you, it had to have been a senior team where the age gap was bigger, the age grids were different, and somebody was saying something in their team group chat, and one of the other kids jumped in and said, "Guys, stop. There are kids in here."
yes. Yeah, there's always like a mother hen type
There's kids
athlete
in this
too.
chat.
Yeah. And you know what? It hasn't been a
She
problem.
has it been relatively easy for her to make friends in the gym on her team?
I think that's more, some people just have an easier time with that than others. And
Mm,
it's been a little bit of a struggle. She misses her besties, but thankfully I'm here to work, I'm here to do my job. And I know as the years go on, it'll get better and she'll develop some tighter bonds. Unfortunately, the girl she had the best time with last season didn't, she left cheer altogether. That was a bummer, but it's tough. They have to take their own initiative, blaze their own trail. Moms can't
mhm.
make their friends for them. She'll have to figure it out.
I was a shy kid too, and it can be hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. Even as an adult, it's hard to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I agree. I miss the cozy little mom group from the small gym. On a world's team, most of these girls drive themselves. So there's not a lot of moms to talk to, and we sit in our cars a lot. They're big girls. You got to send them in and let them do their thing.
Yeah,
So I don't know
teaching
a
them how
lot
to
of moms to
advocate
hang
for
out with.
themselves. Yeah, and I've seen the viewing area at CA Plano, and it
Isn't
is
it something? Ooh,
huge. It's like the bleachers of a youth-sized softball field. It's not a
yeah.
cozy little anything.
No, it's a lot.
It's quite impressive, and there's like a wall of TVs, and it's not. I won't call it inhospitable in the sense that it's not friendly, but it's certainly not like you're walking into anyone's living room by any
No,
means.
maybe that's by design. Boy, do I wish those TVs, if you could log in and watch your athlete's floor from your phone, wouldn't that be amazing?
Brad Habermel, if you're listening, make it remote access.
Yeah, give us a
I'm sure that
password.
just give us a password. Yeah.
Oh,
You know how
I'd
many
sit in
people
my car happily.
how many people would try to crash that system if that password leaked? Oh,
For
that's probably why they don't. Somebody's going to
us.
leak it. Somebody's going to stream it. So as a world's nationally known team, as a mom of an athlete on that team, what are you looking forward to the most?
Just making it was a looking forward to the most. I didn't know if it would happen this fast, but it did. I cannot wait to experience Worlds. We've done Summit, we've done All-Star Worlds, so now it's time for the cheerleading Worlds. And I'm really looking forward to next season. Rookie seasons are tough. Told her if you survive this season, you are mentally tough enough to do anything. Speaking in front of your class, no big deal. A job interview, no big deal. Like they're going to be so well prepared for
That's a
life.
whole culture in Texas and not cheer athletics, not Plano. That's a whole culture that I've noticed especially in Texas. I graduated high school in Texas. I was on the dance slash drill team for 1 year. I
Oh.
absolutely hated it. But the concept of rookies and vets is very much ingrained into the culture. And it might be in other areas, but I've noticed it across all kind of dance, cheer, that sector in Texas of rookies have to do the hard work. If there's rolling up of mats, the rookies are doing it. If there's cleanup, the rookies are doing it. If there's water to be carried in, that the rookies are doing it. And it's you definitely have to earn your spot, but like continually earn your spot and earn your keep. And
Yeah.
I hear you when you say you can handle anything if you can handle being if you can handle your rookie year at on a world's team, on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, on Bowie High School Silver Stars.
Oh, shout out. At that point, the parents can't we don't go in there. We don't go in the gym. We don't you can talk to the coaches if you need to. There's a system in place, but it's not
Sure.
like after practice you can, why wasn't Susie in the middle anymore? They have to fight their own battles, bring up their own concerns. They're learning a lot.
Do they have any traditions that you've learned that you can share?
Yeah, they actually talked about it at Cheersport. They sing the national anthem walking to warm-ups as a team,
Oh,
which is so
that's
cute.
cool. I didn't know that. That's
I
so
didn't know the
cute.
backstory, but the interviewer at Cheersport was talking to one of the older girls, and she said it was a prank one year. The vets pranked the rookies and said, "Oh, we sing the national anthem walking," and it bonded the team, so they just
It,
kept doing it.
it just stuck. Isn't that funny? The things that stick. We had
Yes.
there was certain jewelry that we as rookies couldn't wear. Yeah, vets would prank the rookies.
Ella
Uh,
is waiting to get, speaking of jewelry, Babs is the nickname of the team, so that's on a lot of stuff. But the BB4L is something they have to earn. That's not given to the rookies right away. So
Interesting.
we have
Okay, so you have to
nothing
earn
that
it.
says that yet. And I don't know
That's
how you earn it. I
I
don't
don't
know. We're
know. Yeah, I don't know either. I know Navarro, you have to earn it. I know it. Like every team that has something like that, you earn it, or there's like a special event where you actually learn about it. Interesting. Okay. We
that's
need,
coming up soon, so I'm excited for her.
yeah, we need a BB4L like necklace on TCC jewelry.
Oh, there
But
you go.
we're working on it. Working on it. Again, Brad Hammermel, if you're listening, thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing a little bit of this with us. I think the culture of world's teams is fascinating, and
Yeah.
these girls handle so much pressure and so much intensity and athleticism, and not to mention that, yeah, they get stopped for pictures. They get people are watching them and they get posted on social media, and if they can handle all of that, they're going to be set for life.
And they do
So,
get some instruction from the coaches to touch on that social media stuff. They do prep that please don't engage. If somebody is saying something negative or wrong, there's no need to, don't engage, don't get in an argument, keep it positive, watch what you're posting because we're watching. They do need to follow some guidelines online.
send it to the Cheer Mom blog. I'm not attached to anybody. I'll troll anybody you want. So,
Woohoo!
that's what I tell my athletes. I'm like, "Who we trolling? What did they say? Who are we?"
Oh, the troll game is hard out there. It's strong.
I only troll like Jason Larkins and my friends, my
You guys are
podcasting
really
friends.
fun. I'm so
Just a
thankful for
terrier.
you guys. I learned so much from Larkin's podcast and yours, and we need that. We need the information.
Thank you. And we need a support group. So it's a wild world out there being a cheer mom. So
Yeah.
it's nice to know that we're all not alone and that we're all going, what's a Babs? what is, what's a Brad Habermel? Yeah, keyword purposes, we're just going to keep
And then
saying
we
Brad
got the
Habermel.
dads trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
episode.
There's the dads who like know all the lore and are in it and are just immersed. And there are the dads that are like, what's the name of her team again?
Yes,
My
absolutely.
husband was what team is she on? A youth one? No, she's on a senior five.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I did want to, I don't know if it'll be applicable to anything, but I did want to. This whole situation was driven by Ella. I just wanted to emphasize that athletes who drive themselves and are motivated themselves is, I think, how it should be rather than it's mom's goal to get you on a world's team. I don't know. Out in the internet, I
I
see
I
that
totally
sometimes.
agree. Yeah, I know I totally agree because there are the moms that drive their younger athletes, but at this level, you will not be a successful athlete if your mom is the one pushing you. That just can't happen. I've never met a world's athlete that's, "Oh, I'm here because my mom is making me be here." At least not at a Panthers level. So
Right.
that is a really good point that people make comments online about cheer moms vicariously living through their daughters. No, these successful world's athletes are competitive, they're driven, they are doing this. The moms are along for the ride. Most of the moms are like, what's happening? We're overwhelmed with information. And what do you mean, Babs? What do you mean
Yeah.
BB4L? What does that mean? I can't tell you.
Like our
We're just
checkbooks are really invested and we
yeah.
drive and we wait and we sit, but they're the ones pushing themselves and doing the work
Yes,
and
I
I'm here to
completely
support
agree with
that.
that. I completely agree with that. And I think that there is a for moms of younger athletes, I you'll know. There's definitely like a what's the word I'm looking for? There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a gap between I'm here for fun and I like it and I'm ready to actually do this. And you'll know when you'll know if they're ready to keep going or if it's time to try something else.
Yes.
They'll tell you. I actually, one of the best pieces of parenting advice that I got, I think it was like in a book or an interview or something, that it was just a passing comment that if your child is a prodigy, if they're supposed to be a violinist in a symphony orchestra at the age of 6, like they'll tell you that will come out of them. You don't have to search for it out of them. You don't have to force it out of them. Whatever their
Right.
passion is, whatever their skill is, they'll let you know. So that is a really good point. Thank you. And
Yeah.
what a great and positive way to end the conversation. And thank you so much for your time and best of luck at NCA are you guys going to UCA? Okay, so at Worlds, is there any other
No, it's
competitions we can be
NCA and then
and
World.
then hunker down for Worlds. Okay.
An experience worth talking about afterwards. It's the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That I can't wait to hear about it. So, good luck to Ella. So exciting. We'll have to watch for her and best of luck to you as you
Oh, I hope
navigate
she
all
can.
of this.
Oh, I hope she can compete.
Oh, I know. Oh, in the arena. Okay. Good vibes.
What up, party people? This is Jason Larkins, host of the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I've teamed up with Kristen Wheeler of the Cheer Mom podcast and Dan Cotton of the Cheer Biz podcast.
That's right. Hey, everybody, Kristen here. We know that you love cheer, so why not dive into more perspectives? Tune into my podcast, the Cheer Mom podcast, for cheer issues spoken from the parent's perspective. Then head over to Dan's podcast, the Cheer Biz podcast, to learn from a gym owner on how to run a successful cheer business. And of course, don't miss the Let's Talk Cheer podcast featuring Jason Larkins, the one that we all know and love, where they talk about cheer from a coach's perspective.
Which means whether you're a coach, a cheer parent, or a gym owner, we've got you covered. Find all 3 podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay tuned for new episodes each week.